Good afternoon, everybody, and how is everybody doing? Been home from work for just a little while, been out in the garage working. I did get my hole drilled in my tank. This is another reason why I like to pull the tank out. That way, after I drill my hole in the bottom of it, I can reach inside there, I can get all the shavings out, get all that stuff off of there. I'm gonna do something just a little bit different. I did put it right below the sending unit, just off to the side just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead, since I don't ever intend on using the factory pump or anything. The only thing we're going to be using is the sending unit itself. I'm going to cut the bottom of that off, and then that way I have full flow going into my sump. It's just something that I like to do when I'm doing them. If you put it over here away from it, this is where your tank starts coming up just a little bit. And as you go back towards the back of the truck, the tank kind of slopes down and levels off in this area right here. So this is just about the flattest part of the tank. You have all your date codes and stuff here. You have a band here. My my fast draw straw is right there where they put it in. So I'm gonna put my sump in right there. Going to use the 3/8 barb. I'm going to put that in the vise. And then thread it into the sump itself, and then go ahead and get that put in the tank. Some of the other things that I've been doing is I'm gonna do something different on my jack that I'm making too, and that is down here. I've made that kickstand come back and to be underneath the tail shaft of the transfer case, but I'm gonna bring another piece off here like this and come up and go on this stud of the transfer case too. That way when I pull it out, with the weight of the transfer case, it's gonna want to rock this way, and that'll take all that guesswork out of it, as far as having to get all them brackets tight and everything on the around the transmission itself, just behind the bell housing. And then I still got to take out my front drive shaft. I did take off the skid plate for the transfer case and got it out of the way, and was just looking at some measurements and stuff like that. So and on the inside of the truck, if you're pulling your transmission out, you also have your console you have to pull out. Don't mind all the dirt, I got to sweep that up. You'll have all these are 5/16. You just use a 5/16 nut driver here. You have two on the inside when you pull this boot up, and then you have a series around the boot. You have one on each side, inside of your cup holders, and then pull that four-wheel drive selector up, and then you have two 5/16 in there. Like I said, every one of those inside are 5/16. I have not pulled my shift lever out yet. I'm going to do that here in just a little bit too. Probably not going to get the transmission pulled tonight like I had hoped to, but I am going to get that other brackets and stuff made on the side of it. I've got some more of the square tubing that I'm going to use in the back of the truck here. So we'll take that in there as I bounce you around. I did notice my battery's about to die too, but anyway, I'll get my sump put in, I'll get the nipple put in, and continue on from there. That is tight. We'll go over here and put in the sump itself. I'm gonna turn, this ain't gonna work putting it in like this because that's gotta stay like that. You're gonna have to take and turn your tank when you do this, and so your flange on the inside will lay flat. So we'll tip the tank up, lay the flange down inside there like so, just like that. And wherever your nipple comes out at, make sure and have that cutout turn the opposite direction. That way you don't want that cutout right over top of there. That way anything, all the sediment can go right inside here, and you can drain that out with your plug on the bottom right there. Your fuel will come in, the heavy sediment will lay in this valley here, fill that up, and then overflow into this next little area and then on out to your lift pump. So if I'm going to orient this like this, I'm going to want to make sure and turn that the opposite direction. Alright, there we go. Sump is in. I guess I should go get a tripod, that way you guys could watch as I put this stuff in too. The back of the Allen heads have the washer, and then they have a silicone washer on the back in between the aluminum housing and the stainless steel, and that's what keeps that sealed. And then, like I was telling you, inside the tank you can see down in there, grab a light, you can see I have the nipple coming out there, and then if you look down inside there, I have the opening for the sump right there. So everything looks good as far as that goes. And then my return for my draw straw returns right there for the original where it sucked up out of. You can see on that, I don't know, that's a piece of steel pipe. I don't know who put this fast in, but that's only supposed to be cut off about 2/4 from the bottom of the tank, and that's probably a good inch from the bottom of the tank. So that's way too much. They cut that way too short. Right around 1/8 of a tank or so, I always filled my truck up. Now I'm glad I did after seeing that. So right now what I'm going to do is grab my cutoff wheel and get the bottom of that sump cut off and get all that back in place. So grab that and get that started. Okay, so there's that there. I just cut the bottom of that off and pulled that out of there. And then I'll set that, I gotta clean it off some more obviously. Blow it off, and that's good to go. Probably run a screw in there because that's on. You can't see it as I do that. And this is going to be, see how that moves up and down. So I'll just run a screw in there and hold that. Done that before too. That way your float, because if this goes up, your float is not working properly the way it should. So you want that to keep that down as far as where it's supposed to be, just like this would be simulating sitting on the bottom of the tank, and pushes up ever so slightly. That screen's pretty dirty too. So we'll blow this off, clean it off, run a couple of screws in there, and be good as gold. Probably going to cap one of my, going to cap the return off, or I'm sorry, going to cap the feed off, and I got to get a plug on there yet, and then that's the vent. So that hose is actually missing. As I go like that and point out with my pinky, you can't see it. So anyway. Well, that's all back together, ready to go back in the truck. Got the overflow from the kickoff on your fuel. It's got to go there, and then that'll be the return from my pump. This is the feed. I'm going to cap that off. That's the return from the engine, from the VP44 in the back of the head. That's the vent, and then that just needs a cap on it, and then that's your sending unit itself. So everything looks pretty good. I do have my new hose, or my new filler neck did come. So that's it right there. I need to get that on. And then that'll do away with this return from the pump as we have now. So I'm not going to use the hose clamps. I am going to use my clamp tight with the wire tie. I've showed you guys that before on some of my other videos. Grab my clamp tight and we'll get my fill hose on. You loop it through, go around again, and you loop it through again. Of course, you better have your tool out. Over the top, underneath, and twist them together. And then you just start turning your little knob there, and it starts getting tight. Adjust your wires like so, and then just keep tightening it up until it's tight and you got a good clamp on it. You bend it over, loosen it up, take the tool out. You leave about a 1/4 inch on each end. Take your wire cutters, and just bend them over. And then there is that. You got a nice clamp on it. So I got to do that one yet, and then probably start working on the jack again. Alright, I have both of them clamped on there. It's pretty much ready to go back in the truck now. I didn't do the big one because of the way it's facing. You can't really see it with the camera sitting there. Right now I think I'm going to go ahead and end it for right now because I have to take my son to fast for some football conditioning, and not really going to have time once I get home to do any more work. If I do anything, it's going to be working on the jack itself, and then getting that ready to go in the truck so I can possibly pull the transmission out tomorrow. So guys, appreciate you watching very much. Hey, by the way, in the description below, check out Brandon Perry Vlogs. He picked up some new wheels for his truck yesterday. He got some American Forces. He has a 3rd gen mega cab. So if you haven't already done so, check his video out on his new wheels he purchased. They look really, really good on a truck. So his link is in the description below. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and we will talk to you later on. Bye-bye.